Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to BD Views. I am Mursalin Siddiqui. Today, we delve into a developing political tension that is reshaping the landscape of Bangladeshi politics. Recently, during an exchange meeting with the families of victims of enforced disappearances, BNP Chairman Tariq Rahman made a statement that has sparked intense debate. He claimed that BNP leaders and activists never adopted hidden or latent identities to survive the fascist regime of the past 16 years. While on the surface this sounds like a tribute to his party's resilience, political analysts suggest a much sharper, more cynical undertone. The consensus among observers is that these remarks were a direct jab at Jamaat-e-Islami and its student wing, Islami Jamat Shibir. It is no secret that during the unprecedented crackdown by the previous Awami League government, Jamat Shibir faced the brunt of state-sponsored violence. To ensure their political survival and to keep their organizational structure intact, they had to adopt various survival strategies, often operating quietly or under different banners. However, Tariq Rahman has now chosen to frame this strategic necessity as a sign of weakness or lack of courage, contrasting it with BNP's supposedly open struggle. This shift in rhetoric is significant. For years, these parties shared a common enemy, but now, as the dust settles after the July-August uprising, BNP seems to be pivoting. Instead of focusing on a positive national vision, the party leadership is increasingly relying on subtle mockery of its peers. The question we must ask is, why is the BNP leadership choosing to alienate the very forces that were instrumental in the 2024 mass uprising? Analysts believe this stems from a lack of original policy achievements, forcing the party to create imaginary negatives about their rivals to maintain relevance. To understand why Tariq Rahman's comments are being viewed as problematic, we must look at the historical context of the last decade. The fascist Awami League regime did not treat all opposition equally. While BNP faced immense pressure, the campaign against Jamat Shibir was existential. Their top leadership was executed, their offices were sealed, and their activists were hunted with a specific ferocity. In such a landscape, staying visible was often a death sentence or a fast track to permanent disappearance. The strategy of tactical presence, what Tariq Rahman dismissively calls hidden or latent, is actually praised by many political scientists. It allowed Jamat Shibir to preserve its manpower. Because they survived the darkest years through these clever strategies, they were able to emerge as one of the most organized and disciplined forces during the 2024 revolution. Their contribution to the fall of the dictatorship is undeniable. By mocking these tactics, Tariq Rahman is not just attacking a political rival, he is inadvertently insulting the intelligence and the struggle of those who fought in the trenches when the risks were highest. Furthermore, this narrative reveals a growing insecurity within the BNP. By claiming that BNP never hid, Tariq Rahman is attempting to rewrite the history of the movement to position his party as the sole hero. However, the public remembers the periods of inactivity and the failed calls for movement that plagued the BNP for years. Using propaganda to bridge the gap between their actual performance and their desired image is a dangerous game. Instead of building a platform based on future governance, the BNP is mired in the politics of belittling others' sacrifices. The negative impact of this propaganda is already visible on the ground, specifically in the university campuses. During recent student union elections, the BNP student wing Chhatro Dal heavily employed this same narrative. They campaigned on the idea that they were the open face of resistance while others were hidden actors. They expected that labeling Shibir as a clandestine organization would turn the general students against them. However, the results told a very different story. Today's students are more aware and politically savvy than previous generations. They recognized that the hidden nature of certain groups was a response to extreme fascism, not a lack of integrity. The students saw through the Chhatrodal's lack of a constructive agenda. Consequently, the general students used their ballots to reject the BNP student wing in several key contests. The defeat of Chhatrodal was a clear message. Propaganda cannot replace a positive program for student welfare. Shockingly, despite this clear electoral rebuff, the senior leadership of the BNP seems to have learned nothing. Tariq Rahman's recent comments indicate that the party intends to carry this failed campus strategy into the national arena. If the BNP continues to focus on demeaning the survival strategies of others rather than presenting a concrete plan for the country's economic and structural reform, they risk a similar fate in the national elections. The general public, much like the university students, is looking for leaders who respect the diverse forms of struggle that led to the country's liberation from fascism. Tariq Rahman's remarks at the Bangladesh-China Friendship Conference Center may have pleased his core supporters, but they have sounded an alarm for the broader democratic coalition. A leader of his stature should possess the magnanimity to acknowledge that different parties had to fight the fascist beast in different ways. By choosing to use tactics of survival as a weapon for political character assassination, he is creating a rift in the unity that is essential for rebuilding Bangladesh. This reliance on negative propaganda is a symptom of a deeper malaise within the BNP. When a party lacks a transformative vision for the future, when it has no positive achievements to highlight from its recent past, it inevitably turns to tearing down others. This is a losing strategy. The silent or latent activists of yesterday are the voters of tomorrow. By alienating them and their sympathizers, BNP is narrowing its own path to power. If the BNP continues on this trajectory, the negative consequences seen in the student elections will likely haunt them in the national polls. The people of Bangladesh are tired of the politics of division. They want a government that values every drop of blood spilled during the uprising, regardless of whether that blood came from an open activist or a tactical one. Tariq Rahman must realize that mocking the survival of his allies only serves the interests of the fallen fascists. It is time for the BNP to move beyond propaganda and start offering real solutions to a nation at a crossroads. BNP's reliance on mocking the survival tactics of allies reflects a lack of positive vision. By dismissing the strategic resilience of others as cowardice, Tariq Rahman risks alienating the revolutionary spirit of 2024. Unless the BNP replaces propaganda with constructive leadership, they may face a decisive rejection. That's all for today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching BD Views. If you find our reports insightful, please subscribe to our channel. Allah Hafiz.